Good morning. Here I am, wide awake, looking forward to the day, and so pleased that one of my friends said, God, I wish I was in your place. She's in St. Louis, Missouri, and I could be taking in everything that's New York City. Well, last night, I was asked by one of my friends to go out to Little Island. If none of you ever heard of it, it's an amazing, magical park right on the Hudson River off of 13th Street and 14th Street. And you walk in and it's accessible for, I would think, most people, wheelchairs. I don't know if there's a ramp, but I assume there is. And you can sit and listen to music, dance, whatever cultural events are there. Most of the events are free. This event was $25 for Women of Soul. And it was a magical evening. When I tell you the heat didn't matter, the only thing that matters was watching the men and women do sign language with incredible expression on their face, mimicking the music to an entire area that was reserved for people who were deaf. It was wonderful to watch the group swaying. And this is a multiracial group. Everyone was in the amphitheater. It's not very large, but it was an experience that can only happen here in New York City. And I gotta tell you, the lighting is magical and brilliant colors against the Hudson River and the ships that are going by. The scene is incredible. Couldn't believe it. If I want to go out this evening, I can listen to Carnegie Hall at Bryant Park, and that's free. And the summer stage at Lincoln Center is also free, and they're having great salsa music, anything that you can think of, tributes to James Baldwin. It's all continuing through the summer. The Central Park bandstands, the Baumberg Pavilion, all outdoor venues for us to participate in. I was masked, but most in the audience, young and old alike, many weren't. Nobody says a word. Your space is your space. So I recommend, you may not have too much cash on hand, go to these venues. And by the way, at Little Island, if you can't afford to sit in the amphitheater, which is open to the elements, there's ample ways to listen to the music right surrounding it. So participate and enjoy. And now let me get back to politics, because politics seems to intrude upon my world, whether I ask people or not. I was driving in a taxi cab, and it was curious as I was waiting for a cab to pick me up. 4 cabs passed me by, all empty. And I kept wondering, why in the world is this happening? They see me. They see the doorman for my building. Nobody usually lets me wait. Somebody is there, but they were waiting for the right person to pick me up. This person was only too happy. When I said, "How are you?" he said to me, "Well, I'm a naturalized citizen, and I'm kind of disgusted with my son being discriminated upon, and I'm going to go back to my own country eventually after 30 years. I can't stand the lack of equal opportunity in this country anymore. He said, I hate those liberals. And he went on and on and on to talk about people who have a domestic policy that actually helps people. So I said, really, why are you singling out liberalism and socialism? Because these are the buzzwords I hear from every Trumpist who I meet. And then when I ask them for an understanding, they don't give me an understanding. So then I go and I say, well, do you believe that people should be discriminated against? And he said, no, absolutely not. And I said, I'm being discriminated against because there's too much anti-Semitism in this world. And he kind of sloughed it off and said, yeah, that's really terrible. You're part of the Christian Judeo religion. You should not be discriminated against. I said, but I am. And I said, and what about other people? And what about decent salaries? And he said, oh, I want decent salaries. And I went on, but I didn't hit him with the punchline. And the punchline is that when you're an informed citizen, just like when you read the Bible, you learn to question. God loved the shepherd. The shepherd questioned God. He wasn't struck down for it. He was encouraged. And I feel, as an informed citizen, I'm going to ask questions until I understand. Well, now I understand the Trumpist point of view. They are sound bites. Sound bites that everyone learns, and they repeat them. And they all repeat the same thing. But when you question everyone and say, why do you believe that? They really can't say. It's just words. But unfortunately, those words make them reflexive. And by being reflexive, they will push the button for the GOP, whether or not they agree with them at all. Because if they had to look at their own principles and values, they wouldn't agree. They certainly wouldn't agree if they know what I know about corporate power and the Republican Party and perhaps other politicians as well. It's not just the Republicans that have been bought off by corporate power. Democrats have also. So nobody is pure. We've all let this happen. And what is this that I'm talking about that we've let happen? Corporate power, that's what it is. The assault on big oil, the assault on perhaps opioids, the assaults on gun manufacturers, the assaults on people wanting control over their own reproductive health. Well, people who espouse these things are decent folks. They want true, free choice for everyone. That's not so bad. They want people to be safe from guns. They want people to have control over their own bodies. They want people to have low-cost green energy as opposed to a huge carbon footprint. These are not bad values. But for having those values, corporate power is unlimited. They will pay any PR group they can get, or any PAC they can get, or any dark money they can get to destroy the candidates on the left in particular, and on the right if they happen to espouse the rights of we the people. So make no mistake about it. People are voting for, when they now push the Republican lever, they're pushing for big oil. They're pushing for no new jobs, no decent paying jobs. They're pushing for the status quo. Like technology says, we move fast and we break things. Well, that's not how it's supposed to be. No sirree. And it's the same as it was in the old days when Home Depot came in and promised flooring mechanics $9,000 a week. My guys never went, but others did. And within 2-3 weeks or a month, they were looking for work. Because one of the ways big business, who doesn't care about labor at all, gets ahead is they don't pay wages. And now we have an unaccountable big tech, no different than the unaccountable big oil, except oil we understand a little. Technology, no. We had laws in place in 1995 where we had an entire separate department advising Congress and crafting bills for them to write against technology. We had an AI department. We had robotics. We had privacy issues and cyber issues covered in this one national group that was there to advise the Congress and the president on how to write effective regulation to rein in technology. Because who are the casualties of all of these new industries and apps that come up? Sure, they move fast and they break things. But what's breaking? We, the people. There are new apps in New York City for delivery in 10 to 15 minutes. They're all going bankrupt. But so are the people who they employed. Not only were they under extreme stress to deliver the products, but a lot of them never got paid. And the folks who set up the apps to begin with, and the black stores that are probably illegal because they're commercial space, probably in a residential area, they're all going out of business. But who suffers? The people. And why do they suffer? Because we're not providing jobs that are good enough for everyone to participate in the great American dream. That's what this is all about, folks. This is about getting labor to work cheap, and not letting the people know through serious, responsible legislators that their very lives are being destroyed by big corporations who only know how to move fast and break things. And the things, unfortunately, are flesh and blood. You and me, our children who are dispensable and can't make a living. So think about it when you listen to this alternate reality and you want to get rid of that Democratic senator because of the things some people have said and how much they've been magnified. Think again. Same thing if they feel that way about a good mayor or a previously very good GOP person. Think Why are they getting rid of him and going to the alt-right? Because to the alt-right, all they see is the alt-left. And you know what? The majority of us are really in the middle. We got to remember that. We're a big majority. We got to speak up from now on for those who do right by us and press those voting buttons for good people, not for someone who slandered them. Because if they slander them, there's got to be a reason. Certainly, I know when I was in business, I never slandered the competition. No, I stood on my own principles. I had good pricing. I gave you expert service. And if there was a problem, we fixed it immediately. I stood on that, and I was honest about my pricing and whatever I was charging for. That's what I stood on. I didn't have to hurt the other guy. That wasn't necessary. You know, I'll leave you with Groucho Marx quote, because I live by one principle. Groucho Marx says, "These are my principles. If you don't like them, hey, I'll tell you some others. I got many principles." So with that, God bless you. See you next week. Looking forward to another day. Bye now.